Hello, Balisong enthusiasts and people of the internet. Today in this video I want to tell you all of the components that you need for tuning bushings. And I'm not talking about car bushings, I'm talking about bushings that are usually used in Balisongs and sometimes in other knives, like folders. For example, the Machine Voice Sonora uses them. They look like this. They're small metal tubes. And by tuning I mean sanding. So yeah, any profession, quote unquote, I guess, that needs, tuning Balisongs isn't really a profession, I guess, but whatever. Part of it is. So anything where you need to sand those small tubes, that applies to this video. So anything that I say in this video will be covered in the Balisong wiki. The link to the specific article will be in the video's description. There will be also some links to some of the components and parts that I mentioned in this video. So if you just want to go through all of the components in a quick way and don't want to listen to me yap, you can just check out the wiki. So, first of all, you're going to need sandpaper. And it's very important that the sandpaper that you're going to use is very worn out. Because the more worn out the sandpaper is, the smoother the surface is. And when the surface is smoother, you will have less risk of making the bushing uneven. And you always want to keep the bushing as even as possible. For example, this sandpaper right here is very worn out. This one is as well. So if you look closely, you can't even see the individual sand particles. If the camera wants to focus. Right here you can, because I haven't used it up on the sides, I've only used it up on the middle. So around right here is used up, and right here is new part that I haven't used. And it's very important that you only use the used up part. So this is 400 grit. I don't really use this one anymore, for I don't know why, for what reason. I just kind of use this one. It's 800 grit and it's used up, but it doesn't really matter. I've also had great success with this one. I just kind of wanted to have a second used up sandpaper in case the first one gets lost or whatever, so just never really switched back to this one. But both of those are used up. Again, here's a comparison of a completely brand, well, it's not completely new. I started using it up here in the middle, but as you can see, it is still very new. Maybe I should turn on the flashlight. Yeah. So, if you really want to save money, you only need to buy one piece of sandpaper and wear it out, which would be this one in my case. But I would recommend you to buy two. One that you're going to intentionally wear out and one that you don't intentionally wear out, because sometimes you really need to sand the bushings quite a bit and it's going to be super duper painful and annoying, and it's going to take long if you only use this worn out sandpaper, because it's going to take a very long time. So keeping a second piece of sandpaper that's not worn out is really good. For example, this bushing that I've shown off in the video, I'll probably make a video, like the next video, where I sand this one down. It's currently around 4 millimeters and I need to sand it down to 3.2 millimeters. So that's going to be 0.8 millimeters that I have to sand down. It's going to be super duper annoying. Yeah, around 4. And doing this on the worn out piece of sandpaper is going to be basically impossible. Not impossible, I've done it in the past, but it's going to take super long, and this is why this bad boy is going to come in super handy. But I will still need to have this one, because when I sand it on the not worn out piece of sandpaper, the bushing is going to become very uneven, and the worn out sandpaper is going to help me make the bushing even again. So next thing that you need is a very hard surface. This is a marble granite block that I have stolen from the kitchen. My mother had two. I asked her if I can take one and she said yes. Took a little bit of convincing, but oh well, I managed to. If you do not have one, or whatever, because having this is not really normal, I guess, you can use a scale, and by that I mean the thing that you step on top of to weigh yourself. If that one has a glass surface, you can use those in a pinch. or like any other like glass surface, you just have to make sure that it's like not this like plastic glass thingy, but like actual glass. And you have to make sure it's rigid so it doesn't like shatter while you're tuning, because while you're tuning you need to put some pressure on it, and a scale would be good, I think, because those are made for people who weigh up to 150 grams, and you're never 150 kilos, and I don't think you're ever going to put more than 150 kilos on it. So yeah, you could use a scale. Next thing, also I want to add, you cannot use a wooden desk. For example, can I show this off? Should be fine. Okay, for example, right under here, under this marble block, is a wooden countertop. This is too soft. You cannot use a wooden countertop. It needs to be a hard surface. So make sure it is. Next thing you need is a microfiber cloth, like this one. Actually, I've never really used this one. I usually use my other one, which is this one. It's pink. It's beautiful, and it's a very dirty because I use it so much. You really should get one to wipe off any debris or any sanding particles off of the bushing, because those will impact your tune, and the microfiber cloth will help you clean up your bushing. So next thing you need is a micrometer, which is this thing. I have already shown it off at the very beginning of the video, but this is basically just to make sure that so that you can measure how uneven the bushing is, and it will also come in handy to measure how uneven the blade is and how thick the blade is and everything like that. So you need to get one of those. I've seen there are very expensive ones that go for like 200 euro plus, but you do not need to get the expensive ones. The ones that cost like 40 euro are perfectly fine. This one I got off of the Nabalis website, Syntech or something like that. This one is going to work just fine. I think it costs somewhere between 30 and 40 euros. Just make sure that you get the ones that have 3 decimal points, so 3.799 has 0.799 accuracy. I've seen one that only has 2 points of accuracy. That's not going to be enough. You need 3 points of accuracy in millimeters. I don't know what it's for inch. I don't live in America. So next thing you need is a strop, which is this thing. This is basically just leather taped to a block of wood. And down here we have rubber feet so that it doesn't slide around. But basically this thing is going to help us remove any burr that might have formed from sanding the bushing. You will also need it for polishing washers. So yeah, these can be bought on Amazon for 20 euros, and or you can make one yourself if you have spare leather lying around and some wood. You can just tape it on, like with super glue or whatever. So if you buy one of those off of Amazon, you'll probably get a green stick with it. This is just chromium oxide in beeswax, or I don't know if it's beeswax, just some form of wax. So basically just a stick of chromium oxide. You should get one of those, because this, so what you do is you take your block and you just rub it on there a little bit, like this. You can see there's some green residue from this thing, and you just put it on here. Don't cover your entire thing with it. You want some streaks of it, as you can see. Some have turned brown over time, as you can see, and on some parts it has completely worn away, like right here. Like right here. Yeah, so basically those things, they contain chromium oxide in them, and when you put them on a strop, it's going to act like a very, very, very fine grit, like, I don't know, 20,000 grit or something like that. I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number, but a very fine grit. And that's going to help remove the burr and polish washers, which is very important. And also you can use this to strop the edge of your knife if you want to. So yeah, if you buy a strop, you will probably get one of those things. If you make your own strop, you will have to get one of those things. They cost like, I think, 5 euro per piece. Okay, next thing that I would recommend. So up to here, I'd say is necessary that you buy, but from here is like, I guess, you could get away without it. I mean, in theory, the only thing you need is sandpaper. You don't need anything else. But the more parts you buy, the more you add, the better your tune will be, and the more stuff you have control over, and the more stuff you check. For example, with a micrometer, you can check how tight your bushing is, like how thin and stuff like that. And you know, the more parts you get, the more success you're going to have at tuning. But in theory, you only really need a worn out piece of sandpaper. But just, you know, like the more stuff you get, the easier it's going to be. So the next thing that you can get is a resin bonded diamond plate. This one costs, I think, $80 or something like that. They are quite expensive. I've seen one for $40. That one's probably also going to work fine. But yeah, usually it comes in this box inside here, and then I just put it on top. It has a nice base where it holds it in, so it doesn't move around. Basically, those things we're going to use for after we've sanded the bushing. The bushing is going to probably become uneven. We're going to use the resin bonded diamond stone to make the bushing even again. So the reason why I said you don't have to get one is because you can get away with using your sandpaper, but the thing is, you're going to need to apply a lot of pressure on the bushing, and I think you could tear your sandpaper and you could just ruin it. So this is why I recommend getting a resin bonded diamond plate, because this thing is diamonds bonded in resin to steel, and you're never going to break this. Because how you need to make the bushing flat is, let's say you measure your bushing with your micrometer that you should have bought. You measure it and you find out this side is a little bit higher. So what you do is you put your finger on this side, and let's say right here is the surface. So you put it on here and you push it across like this, and make sure your finger is only on this side that's like higher, and you really have to push super duper hard, and you just drag it across like this. And I think it could ruin your sandpaper, and it's going to sound super duper dumb, but you have to press super hard. And I can show you my finger. It has basically torn my skin with how hard you need to press. Yeah, see, like right here, I guess. So like right here, all of this is torn. And also my finger has gone a little bit numb right at the tip, but the feeling in my finger has always come back after latest 1 month. So yeah, I mean, it does sound a little bit psycho when I say it like that. Oh, you have to press so hard you don't feel your finger anymore, but you know, that's what's given me the most success. But the feeling in my finger has always come back, so you know, it is what it is. So yeah, so the next thing that you need, or you don't need it, but it is what I would recommend, is a pivot lap, which is this thing. So basically how these things work, I'll probably in the next video, I will just show in depth how to use one of those. But basically you have like your puck, and then you have your adapter, which is this thing. The bushing goes inside the adapter, and then you put it in here. Then you have a plunger, and you put the plunger on top of the bushing inside here, and it's going to stick out like this. Then you press on top, and the plunger is going to press on top of the bushing. Currently there is no bushing inside here, but if there were, I would push down on it, and then I would sand the entire puck like this, and it would sand the bushing down. You're going to get many adapters with your pivot lap. I think 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the 6th one? Okay, bad news, I think I've lost one, actually. I'll have to search for it. But I'm pretty sure you should get 6 adapters. I'm just missing one, which is really bad. I have to find it. But I'll do that after the video. So basically, each adapter has one plunger that fits perfectly inside it. So for example, this bushing is not going to fit inside here. So what I need to do is I need to take it out Oh yeah, the sixth one was in here. I'm an idiot. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the sixth one was inside the pivot lab. I'm an idiot. I'm good. Whatever. I mean, I'm not good. I'm an idiot. But yeah. So I'm going to take one that's a little bit bigger. No, not this one. This one was the one I took out. No, this one looks bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in here. Going to see if the bushing fits in. The bushing fits in very snug. Can't really see it, but it fits in very snug. Just push it in. Then I put the plunger on top. And it would then look like this. The plunger is not sitting very flush because it's pressing on top of the bushing. I can press the bushing out by pressing on the plunger. So yeah, so you just put it in here, press down, and then you just go in circles while applying very slight pressure on the plunger. You absolutely do not need this. You can tune bushings by hand with your finger, but if you, I do recommend those because they make it easier to not make your bushing uneven. I mean, it will happen even with those, but the risk is smaller and it's a lot easier to use one of those if you need to sand away quite a bit. So in the video I've said I need to sand this one down, I think I said it, from 4 millimeters to 3.2 millimeters, which is quite a bit. That's like 0.8 millimeters that I need to sand away. Usually you would, like if you buy a Balisong and it comes with spare bushings, usually the bushings are like 3.2 millimeters and you need to sand them down to like 3.18 millimeters, which is 0.02 millimeters, which is really not that much. So in that case you absolutely can just use a single worn out piece of sandpaper. But I need to sand away almost a full millimeter, which is quite a bit. And with the pivot lab it's a lot more comfortable because I'd have to, if I didn't use the pivot lab, I'd have to pinch it like this or press down on the bushing like this on the surface, like this. And if I use the rougher sandpaper, which I am going to do because it's going to speed up everything, like the sanding, it's going to like fly away the entire time. It's going to like whoop, fly away like this. I've done it in the past and the pivot lab is going to prevent that. So I do recommend getting one, but only if you're serious about tuning. Like if you want to, let's say, tune your entire collection and maybe a couple of Balisongs from your friends and stuff like that, then get one. But if you only want to tune like 1 to 2 Balisongs or whatever, then don't get one because they're quite expensive. I think they cost like 90 bucks or something like that. Like I think 94 plus ship, which in the end is 100. So good things, but very expensive and not worth it if you don't use them a lot. And also those things will require you to have, like, they have a learning curve. They're not just let's go and it works perfectly. They have a smaller learning curve than doing it by hand though, so they're good in that regard. So yeah, next thing, this is completely unnecessary. So this thing you would only buy if you're like rich and you have money to spare and you don't know what to do with it. Instead of buying this green chromium oxide, instead of using this, you would buy a diamond paste or a diamond emulsion and spread it on your strop. But it's completely unnecessary. Only buy it if you have like mad cash to spare. So the thing with this thing is it's wax. So when you start to strop, you need to do like 20 passes until the wax heats up so that the bushing contacts the chromium oxide. Which takes a little bit of time, but with a diamond paste you don't have that because the paste is going to immediately disappear, which the strop is just going to drink up, like the emulsion part, and it's going to leave behind the diamonds. So yeah, another plus point is that with some super steels you actually kinda need to get a diamond emulsion paste thingy, because the chromium oxide can't really properly strop those super steels. So if you want to strop down your knives, if you're using a super steel, you kind of have to use a diamond paste either way. So if you're already into knives and you already have a diamond paste, you can just use the diamond paste instead of this thing. I usually would have shown off one that you can buy, But the thing is, I have bought a very, very low quality one. It's super duper crappy, and I don't want to give them a shout out because they're way too expensive for what they are. So I'm not going to show off which one I've bought, but just be careful. The like a good one will cost you like $40. I can actually not personally recommend stroppy stuff because I've never bought them, but everybody that I've like talked to, listened to, and heard has said that stroppy stuff is amazing. So get that, but it does come with a price tag. They have different sizes. Get the 6 micron version of their of stroppy stuff, diamond emulsion. So yeah, get that instead. I think that's pretty much it. That's everything you need to know. So this list was, I don't know if I've said this, but at the beginning I said the most important stuff, and at the end I said the least important stuff. So yeah, you can decide where you want to stop, and it really depends. So it really depends on how hard you want to, like how professional, quote unquote, you want to tune it. If you like want to get a really tight tune, you probably want all of the stuff except for the diamond paste. But if you're like, no, I only want to tighten up my tune a little bit, then you're probably just fine using only the sandpaper. If you're like, yeah, I want to get a tight tune but don't want to have it perfectly, then you're probably fine with just getting sandpaper, micrometer, and of course the hard surface and the microfiber cloth. Yeah. So again, really depends. I think that was it.